at 6, recreational marijuana sales start tomorrow in Ohio, almost a year after Ohioans voted to legalize it. Now dispensaries are gearing up to make those first recreational sales.
He was probably one of the most well-known students in this building.
Also tonight, teachers at Maritime Academy of Toledo continue to process the murder of one of their students. Tonight, WTOL 11 sat down with one of them to discuss the loss.
I think it allows us to continue to provide great services and safety services for the citizens of Northwood, Ohio.
And the Northwood Fire Department gets a boost to help pay its firefighters. Now, they say a grant will help keep the community safer. WTOL 11 News at 6 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Kaylee Marentet.
And I'm Jeff Smith. Glad to join you here tonight. We're going to start with your weather. And it's been a day where some, not all, saw some rain and storms.
We're going to bring in Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers. Chris, additional storm chances ahead. Is there any risk overnight, though?
Yeah, very limited risk overnight tonight. If we do see anything tonight, it'll be fairly gentle with a couple isolated thunder showers. A little bit of sunshine still trying to peek through some of the clouds that are advancing in from the north. Brighter skies south of Toledo, where we have temperatures that have reached toward 90 degrees. Take you through the hour-by-hour details coming up in just a little bit. Jeff, back over to you.
Chris, thanks. Happening right now, recreational marijuana sales are set to start in Ohio tomorrow.
This comes about 9 months after voters gave their approval. Andre Norrells joins us now in Bowling Green. Andre, the shop you're at only sells medical marijuana now, but that's about to change in less than 24 hours.
Hey, Jeff and Kaylee, it is. Now, I'm here at Nectar. It's one of the 2 medical dispensaries here in Bowling Green, both getting the go-ahead to start selling recreationally tomorrow. Now, that's because of the Division of Cannabis Control will be granting these facilities a dual-use permit. 98 dispensaries altogether in Ohio will also be able to sell recreationally tomorrow, 5 being right here in Northwest Ohio. Cannabis Control does say that every facility might not start selling right away, but I can confirm Nectar here in Bowling Green plans to start tomorrow. They've changed their hours of operations to 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. I spoke with the manager today, and he says him and the rest of his staff are excited for tomorrow.
We've been waiting for this day for a long time. Over the past couple months since we voted on it and things of the sort. So, we were just kind of sitting, waiting patiently, waiting to hear from the state to be able to, finally open the doors to recreational patients and really get going. So we're all very excited. There's been a lot of buzz around here. We got people coming in on their days off tomorrow and stuff just to be part of history. So.
Now, to hear more about how the staff here at Nectar are preparing for tomorrow and to hear about some limitations you should be aware of, be sure to tune in tonight at 11. Reporting in Bowling Green, Andre Norrells, WTOL 11.
New at 6 tonight, family and friends, they are remembering a high school student shot and killed over the weekend. 18-year-old Iron Anderson died from his injuries, and now those who loved him tell Michael Sandlin, our Michael Sandlin, that a bright future has been cut short.
Inspiring, vibrant, a beautiful soul. In North Toledo, I'm Michael Sandlin for WTOL 11.
Right now, Toledo police say they have not made any arrests. Anybody with information should contact, text, or call the Crime Stoppers hotline. You can remain anonymous, and you could be eligible for a cash reward.
A child died after he was struck by a car last night in Clyde. Clyde police say when they arrived on scene, they found the child, younger than 2 years old, had been hit by the vehicle. The child died at the scene. Police are not releasing the names of those involved, including the victim, as well as any other further information at this time. An investigation is ongoing into this. A Maumee man will spend at least 6 years behind bars for his role in an elderly man's death. 34-year-old Zachary Boyer was sentenced today to 6 to 9 years in prison after seriously injuring 76-year-old John Meeker in a fist fight at Sidecut Metro Park in November. Meeker died a week after that fight. Boyer pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter. Now, this man, 55-year-old Kenneth Pegler, faces 2 felony counts after he allegedly hit and killed a bicyclist while driving in West Toledo. Pegler was arraigned this morning on counts of aggravated vehicular homicide and failing to stop after a crash. Toledo police say the driver hit the rear of the bicycle, then drove several yards down the street with the bicyclist lodged underneath the car. Toledo police are looking for the man who stole a car with 2 kids inside. This happened Saturday afternoon at a Circle K along Airport Highway. The mother of the 2 kids told police when she went inside the store, she saw a man walking around her car. Then the man got in and drove off with her 4-year-old and 9-month-old kids inside. Thankfully, TPD, they were able to track down the car and return the kids home safely. But anyone with information on this should call or text Crime Stoppers.
Other stories we're tracking for you here tonight. The Toledo Catholic Diocese may be taking legal action against the city of Toledo. Toledo City Council just approved a 1-year moratorium on demolition permits for historic buildings. Megan Hardnett joins us live outside of Sacred Heart Church on the east side of Toledo, which has been the focus of a lot of discussion over the last few months. And the diocese says this is the target of that moratorium. Megan?
Jeff, that's right. The diocese sent out a statement where it said that Sacred Heart Church was the target of the moratorium and that it hopes that City Council will rescind the ban. Otherwise, the diocese has no other option than to take legal action. Toledo City Council unanimously voted to place a moratorium on demolition permits that will last until July of next year for buildings 75 years or older where people gathered. City Councilman George Toronto says the goal is to preserve history and prevent urban blight, and that the moratorium is not just targeting Sacred Heart Church. He says within the next year, the city's planning commission will assess historic buildings to see if there are any alternative uses before demolishing them. Toronto says if in the next year there are no alternatives found for these buildings, then demolition would be the next step.
Again, we want to just make sure that we're dotting the I's and crossing the T's and doing a thorough analysis before it is demolished. And remember, this affects so many other structures in the city of Toledo.
The diocese did previously receive an offer to buy the building, but it was unclear what the building was going to be used for, so the diocese went ahead and declined that offer and decided to move forward with demolition plans. To read the diocese's full statement on the moratorium, you can visit our website at WTOL.com. Reporting in East Toledo, Megan Hartnett, WTOL 11.
Northwood's Fire Department is adding 3 full-time firefighters to the team. The city is getting almost $1 million through a FEMA grant. This will cover salaries and benefits for the next 3 years. The goal is to solve problems regarding response time, staffing, and they say more.
We are heading off some of the issues that are being seen throughout the area, shifts not going staffed, call times extending, those sorts of things. So I think we're going to continue to provide excellent safety services to our residents.
It's just really huge. It allows us to add 3 staff members. We'll have 1 additional firefighter on each shift, 24-hour shifts, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
At this time, the city is working with the fire department to create a plan to keep members on staff once the grant funding runs out.
The need for mental health services in Ohio's schools is up this past school year, but that may not be a bad thing. Sophia Perricone joins us to explain why. Sophia?
Kaylee, the director of student services and well-being at Perrysburg Schools, tells me the increase shows the negative stigma around mental health is breaking down and shows that students are actually open to talking with counselors about their issues. According to the Ohio Council of Behavioral Health and Family Services Providers, there was a nearly 22% increase in the need for mental health service partnerships compared to the previous school year. Since 2017, that same need has grown by more than 200%. Justin Foltz with Perrysburg Schools tells me that they have seen an increase in anxiety across all grade levels up to 12th grade, and that they've been working closely with families to address those needs. But he says most concerning to him, staffing levels highlighted in the report.
I think a lot of the times there is such a large demand for services that the supply side of it is just not there, and it's competitive. So for some of our community mental health partners, it's difficult to hold on to people, and even as the report highlights, the compensation can be pretty different between working in that setting versus a private setting.
He also said he's glad that the report has drawn attention to the different funding opportunities that schools can explore to have those resources for students. If your child is feeling anxious or depressed, Fultz encourages you to reach out to the school counselor. If they cannot help directly, they can always point you in the direction of someone who can. Reporting live, Sophia Periconi, WTOL 11.
All quiet across the area this evening, but on our hour-by-hour forecast tomorrow afternoon and evening, we'll have some scattered showers and storms to contend with. We'll highlight the timing of all that coming up right after the break.
Now at 6, the woman who lied about having cancer and raised money for fake treatments is going to jail.
Lisa, why did you fake having cancer? Are you prepared to go to jail today?
Our 11 Investigates team has coverage on today's verdict.
Stellantis is reassessing its operations after reporting a major drop in profit, where the carmaker says it has significant work to do.
But I'm so glad that they finally got it together. Oh my God, now we don't have to drive to Michigan.
Ohio voted in favor of recreational marijuana nearly a year ago. Now, facilities that sell medical marijuana are one step closer to selling it recreationally. WTOL 11 News at 6 starts right now.
I first want to sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart for my past actions, for the hurt that I have caused others.
Right there, a fiery day in court for the Toledo woman who faked cancer, milking thousands of dollars in donations out of family, friends, and strangers. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeff Smith.
And I'm Kaylee Marentat. Her plans to collect sympathy and money ending in jail time for Lisa Tickmeyer. We have team coverage for you tonight.
Our 11 Investigates team has been covering this case before charges were filed back in March. Brian Duggar talked to Tickmeyer's victims.
But first, we're going to start with Melissa Andrews, who has more on her tearful sentencing. Mel, this was a day of reckoning for Tickmeyer for all the hurt she's caused.
The judge said she has never received so many letters from victims, 100 of them. It is clear the community and Lisa Tickmeyer's own family and friends do not think she is sorry for tricking them all.
Court will impose 3 years of community control today.
Lisa Tickmeyer must turn herself into the sheriff's office by noon tomorrow to begin her 6-month sentence for felony theft. She will also serve 3 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and pay restitution of $25,000. Any money that cannot be returned to the people she stole from will be donated to 2 local cancer charities. And by the way, the judge said her punishment is just a drop in the bucket compared to what Lisa put her community through. For 11 Investigates, I'm Melissa Andrews.
Our team also caught up with several people who were affected by Tickmeyer's scam.
Lead investigator Brian Duggar has their story.
If a violation is a new felony.
By my story.
Now, it's clear from the number of people in the courtroom and from those we interviewed that Tickmeyer has hurt a lot of people. But it's also clear that this case may not be over. In talking with prosecutor Mike Lizelle and one other person with knowledge of the case, there is an ongoing investigation into Lisa's involvement in a fundraiser held for Brandon Stalker's family. Of course, we will continue to follow this story. Now reporting in studios, Brian Duggar for 11 Investigates.
All right, thank you guys for that reporting. We have been following this story since March. If you want to read more on the Tickmeyer's case, head to our website, WTOL.com, for more coverage. Now staying in the courtroom, the woman who pleaded guilty to killing 2 people in a car crash was sentenced today. Jasmine Pitts was sentenced to 30 years in prison after taking a plea deal. Toledo police say Pitts intentionally rammed her car into another car in February, causing it to lose control and hit a pole. A 30-year-old and 25-year-old died in that car as a result.
Well, we've got gorgeous skies across the area and a very detailed those storm chances. And when we see rain return, that'll be my full 10-day forecast coming up. Jeff, back over to you.
New at 6 for you, Stellantis saying tonight it's got significant work to do after the company reported a major drop in profits. The automaker says profits for the first half of this year were down almost 50% compared to last year. Stellantis' CEO singling out North America as a place where the most improvement is needed. He says there have been problems with inventory management and a sliding market share. It was almost 8 months ago that Ohio voters approved the use and sale of recreational marijuana.
Now the Division of Cannabis Control is giving facilities their certificate of operation for recreational weed. Silver Barker joins us now live to explain what this means. Silver?
Right. It doesn't mean that people can start buying or selling marijuana for recreational purposes. However, it is a step closer in that direction. 133 facilities in Ohio qualified for dual use licenses, meaning recreational and medical purposes. Some of these facilities have already taken the next step, which is their certificate of operation. This allows for them to start preparing to sell recreational marijuana. Senior Manager and Compliance Attorney Robert Hart with Verano and Zen Leaf says they're just waiting for that final approval.
So now that we have that, it's really just a waiting game to see when the Department of Cannabis Control, the entity that's overseeing the program, ultimately gives everyone the green light to start selling product across the state.
While it's not clear yet when people can start smoking marijuana for recreational purposes, Hart says it could take months before the Division of Cannabis Control gives an update to that. Reporting in Bowling Green, Silver Barker, WTOL 11.
Well, 2 Findlay men helped fire crews solve an arson case 2 years ago. How they were honored today.
Comfortable weather expected the next couple of days. We begin to heat up into the weekend and beyond. We'll detail that. And storm chances in my 10-day forecast coming up.
Thanks so much for joining us here on WTOL 11 News at 5:30. I'm Melissa Andrews.
And I'm Jeff Smith. Great to be with you as we usher you into the weekend off what was a beautiful day out there.
It really was.
Yeah.
Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers is here with a check of the forecast. Chris, we are looking at warmer and more humid weather.
Yes, the weekend unfolds. Each day going to turn a little bit warmer today. Really ideal and comfortable, and that will last into tonight. To be that storm chance coming up in just a little bit. Back over to you.
It is a celebration 4 years in the making. Paris welcomes the world in a one-of-a-kind Olympic opening ceremony.
Yeah, as the battle for gold officially gets underway, so too does the mission to keep athletes and spectators safe.
Law enforcement is on high alert after the country's rail network was hit by what officials are calling multiple acts of sabotage, including arson attacks. To keep the games safe, the city has deployed tens of thousands of police officers.
There are risks and threats for a big event like that in any country. But then there are specificities linked to France. And Paris will be so crowded that it could create some kind of panic and stampedes.
The International Olympic Committee, the IOC chief, saying that he has full confidence in French authorities during the games.
Well, another challenge athletes will face is the weather, keeping their bodies cool in the heat. This year's games are expected to be one of the hottest ever. To stay cool, Team USA is turning to innovative sports medicine technology to help give them an edge. The Cool Mitt you see right there was originally created with the military in mind, but is now being used to help U.S. athletes perform their best in the City of Lights.
During intense competition, you may reach a body temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. By using the Cool Mitt, you're going to be able to pull that down from 100 down to the high 98s in a matter of minutes.
So you just slip your hand in there? I don't know. Other gear makers like Nike and Hyper Ice have developed cooling vests and boots also focused on body temperature for athletes. Even though there are challenges with the security and the heat, it is not stopping the excitement surrounding the Olympics.
Yeah, a few of the sports that grab a lot of eyeballs every 4 years are swimming and gymnastics. And Dominique O'Neill, he joins us in the studio right now.
And Dom, you talked to some young athletes today around here. What did they think about the Olympics?
Well, Jeff and Melissa, after spending some time talking with some local swimmers and gymnasts, I get the sense that the excitement is growing. One swimmer told me watching the Olympics will be extra special this year because of an Ohio connection.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to watch my favorite swimmers.
Ewan Fisher is a swimmer from Perrysburg. And the watch party for the gymnast will be Tuesday afternoon. Reporting in studio, Dominic O'Neill, WTOL 11.
Dom, thanks. 20 Ohioans are heading to the Olympics on Team USA, including Bluffton native Trevor Bassett. The 26-year-old will be competing in his first games racing in the 400-meter hurdles. Also representing Ohio, Rose Lavelle on the U.S. women's soccer team. Of course, Akron natives LeBron James and Steph Curry for basketball. Another notable Ohioan, Simone Biles, makes her comeback. There are also several Ohio State athletes participating in swimming, diving, and track and field, several representing other countries.
Well, this is a story that's been gaining a lot of traction online. The Ohio Supreme Court says customers who order boneless wings should not expect them to actually be boneless.
Wow.
Right. This all stems from a case brought on by a man who says he developed medical problems after a tiny bone fragment became lodged in his throat following the eating of some boneless wings. He sued the restaurant for negligence and breach of warranty, but the justices ruled that boneless wings refers to the cooking style and that it's common knowledge that chickens have bones. Let the debate begin. Health officials have ordered a nationwide recall on Boar's Head deli meats because they've been linked to 2 deaths. They have been linked to 2 deaths and at least 3 dozen illnesses. Officials are investigating a possible listeria outbreak in some of the company's liverwurst. Additional deli meats that were produced on the same line and on the same day as the liverwurst were also being recalled. The ready-to-eat liverwurst products were produced between June 11th and July 17th. Customers should throw out any recalled products.
Another reason not to eat liverwurst. Thank you. We have an important scam to warn you about tonight. Toledo police say scammers are sending texts or emails claiming to be from the Toledo Municipal Court Violations and Fines Office. The message demands money for outstanding fees and fines. Toledo Municipal Court says it will never contact you in this way. If you have questions or concerns about fines or fees, you are to contact Toledo Municipal Court at the number on your screen. A resident in South Euclid near Cleveland got quite a scaly surprise in his backyard. This is Chris Vickers' neighborhood over there in Cleveland, so watch closely. Willoughby police were called to find this fellow who they named Norman. This was the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and many other agencies helped get Norman out of the resident's backyard safely. Is this your childhood pet, Chris?
No, it's not.
What is this thing? It's one of those things that I think it bites you pretty hard. Remember, what's the
a shark?
No.
Kimono dragon.
Yes.
Gotcha.
There is no word where Norman is
Those
from.
two couldn't have been
I like this game show. Police have asked residents if it is their lizard, please come forward. Willoughby police say they are not new to helping strange animals get home. Chris, they've also had to return some peacocks.
Still not my pet.
I don't know.
The magic is not lost, and it never will be.
All right, we got some other news to get to when we come back.
Thousands have been evacuated and dozens of homes have been destroyed. Very serious situation here. Latest on another round of devastating wildfires in Canada and the impacts we could see here in Northwest Ohio.
Chris, we were talking to you some of that haze earlier this week that we were getting, you said, from those fires.
Yeah, visited us for about 24 hours, had a little still in the skies this morning, but much of it's now cleared out. We'll let you know if there's a return of that Canadian wildfire smoke, and also talk some heat and humidity. That's my 10-day forecast coming up.
Next on WTOL 11 News at noon, Hurricane Beryl slams into Texas, killing at least 8 people. Now at noon, the WTOL 11 weather team is tracking how the remnants from the storm will impact our area.
It's just sad. I think about a lot of our regulars. You know, this building means a lot to a lot of people.
Plus, it is one of the only breweries in Defiance County, but it's shut down. Why it's closed and what it will take to rebuild. And the new school year is right around the corner. How organizations are helping kids and families prepare. Welcome to WTOL 11 News at noon. I'm Melissa Andrews. We'll get to those top stories in just a second. But first, let's get a check of the WTOL 11 forecast with Kaylee Bowers. Kaylee, what are you tracking for us today?
Melissa, we have more scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes. Melissa.
Kaylee, thanks. Beryl is now a tropical depression, which has left parts of Texas devastated and many areas underwater. At least 8 people are dead, and the storm also caused destructive tornadoes. CBS News has the latest on the storm.
A path of destruction. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Houston.
Former Toledoans now living in Texas have some pictures for us from their experience with Beryl. One man who was heading back to Texas from Toledo says drivers were pulled over on the side of the road when he landed. These Toledoans say it will take time for Texas to get back up and running, but they are grateful they'll be able to recover their losses.
People are without power, people having to buy generators and stuff like that. You know, having to use candles, right? Because a lot of people lost, power, electricity. And yeah, it's just been crazy, telling us to basically stay inside, don't drive your car, don't move.
All right, let's bring back meteorologist Kaylee Bowers. So, Kaylee, what do you think we're looking at when Beryl passes through our area?
Yeah, Melissa, we're going to be seeing around 1 to 2 inches of rain just from Beryl alone. Please do not drive through those flooded roadways. Check that sump up and also check your basement. Melissa.
And you can track when and where you will see the rain from Beryl right now on the WTOL 11 weather app. The meteorologists update the forecast multiple times a day, so you know exactly what's coming. You can find it for free in the App Store or the Google Play Store. Right now, the Craig Memorial Bridge here in downtown Toledo is closed. The Ohio Department of Transportation says this is because of an electrical communication issue. The bridge opened to let a vessel through, but when it went back down, the system did not communicate to confirm the bridge actually closed. The issue is expected to be a minor connection issue that will be resolved today. Our 11 Investigates team has pushed for a conviction integrity unit in Lucas County for the last 5 years. It officially happened today. Lead investigator Brian Duggar is just back from a news conference at the prosecutor's office. Brian, what does this mean for justice reform here in the county?
Yeah, I think it means that really for the first time, Lucas County is going to actually investigate claims of innocence. Now, Commissioner Pete Gerken probably said it best when he helped announce this unit. He said justice needs to be blind, but it doesn't have to be deaf and dumb. There were a couple of really important pieces of information we did learn today. Initially, the unit is going to focus on those in prison who have exhausted their appeals and have a legitimate claim of innocence. And we know the unit will be led by Alyssa Brayman, a Bowling Green State University and University of Toledo Law School graduate. She's an assistant prosecutor who spent time interning in the Federal Public Defender's Office. According to prosecutor Julia Bates, she actually volunteered to lead the new project. Now, Bates has been criticized by some in the community for having no exoneration during her term, but she made a promise to the community.
We need to make sure we get it right. And so part of the press conference, I guess, today is not to just thank the people that are helping us, but to tell the community we need to get it right, and we want to get it right, and we will get it right.
So we're going to have much more in this story throughout the day and also online at WTOL.com, including my interview with Mrs. Bates. Reporting in studio, this is Brian Duggar for WTOL 11.
Browns legend Bernie Kosar has Parkinson's disease and is in need of a liver transplant. Kosar, who is 60, says he was diagnosed with Parkinson's in February and added to the transplant list in the spring. Since he retired from football in 1996, Kosar says he suffered countless injuries, including 80 broken bones, 40 surgeries, numerous seizures, and countless concussions. The Ohio native led the Browns to 3 AFC championship game appearances. The only brewery in Defiance is trying to bounce back after a fire. Fort Crick Brewery caught fire in June, and the general manager says it could take up to 6 months to reopen. The brewery has been in the city for 8 years and was getting ready to expand to a bigger building next door.
We've already been estimated at least 4 to 6 months just to buy a new brewery system and get it built, around 6 months. So, I mean, I'm figuring it's unfortunately going to be after the first of the year, you know, before we're even open.
The brewery's general manager says the cost of the damages is unknown, but a report from the Defiance Fire Department estimated it to be $8,000 to $10,000. Oregon could be cracking down on its dog policy at its recreation complex. Dogs are already prohibited at the Oregon Rec on Seaman Road, but people bring them anyway. Right now, the city cannot enforce the rule because it's only a policy. But council debated a possible ordinance that would allow police to enforce it.
You know, my biggest fear is, you know, I just don't want a kid or a person to get bit. And then, you know, you run into them going to the bathroom and a little kid run through something he shouldn't have went through, and you're just going to have to go wash his shoes off.
The ordinance has not been enacted yet, and City Council is still drafting it. We're getting a look this afternoon at the streetscape enhancements Toledo is planning for the area known as Four Corners downtown. These are renderings the city posted on its Facebook page for the area of Huron Street and Madison. It says the proposed changes are meant to improve pedestrian experiences, traffic safety, and civic spaces with better pavement, planters, street trees, and more. And while not yet funded, the city will use these renderings to apply for state and federal grants. Students in the Sylvania School District can now open enroll to Northview High School. The board approved the new policy 5-0. Previously, Sylvania students from the Northview residential area could open enroll to Southview, but not the other way around, except for a specific set of reasons. The district says Northview can handle open enrollment after several years of much larger graduating classes. The boundary is still Brent Road, so students south of Brent go to Southview, north of Brent go to Northview. The new policy begins in the 2025-26 school year. A local health initiative is helping to bring fresh produce to families' dinner tables. How the program is connecting the community. Kaylee.
Melissa, we're seeing a decent amount of rain already, but more rain is on the way from the remnants of Hurricane Beryl. Your full forecast coming up.